Act together here. Hey Tammy, how are you? All right, act together here. All right. Hi Grant, how are you? Hey Tammy, are you there? Or Brooke, whoever?
I'm here.
Hey, I just a quick question for you about crop box.
Yeah.
Um, are there many people using it to grow like really specific things like tomatoes or strawberries or some, particular crop? Do you know?
So there are many people who've tried. I haven't heard that they have been able to last longer than a couple years doing it. There was one guy in South Carolina who did strawberries, and there's been quite a few who've tried tomatoes. Everybody ends up doing leafy greens or microgreens, is what I understand from this. I'm really close to the guy who built it, and he's in Clinton, North Carolina.
Is that
And
Will? Is that his
no,
name?
it's Trip Williamson.
Oh, right, right. Okay.
Yep. And so I get to hear when he installs one all over. They're installed all over the world, but there's been a few that have tried to do things other than leafy green. I mean, there's people who are trying to grow hops for beer in them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I have not heard anybody who's just super successful in anything but greens.
And why do you think that is based on your experience?
Well, first of all, I'm so different than everybody else. We don't use nutrients. We don't use, we're just, we don't use any kind of weird or any of those outfits for the channels that, cover the crop. We just absolutely lay burlap down on a channel and grow and sprinkle seed on it and then add water. And that's it. So we don't have the problems that other people have with indoor ag, which, all of the nutrient problems with algae and all of that. We don't have that. So I think that's part of it, but I'm not 100%.
Well, I don't want to belabor the point, but I was reading an article about sunburst tomatoes. I guess
Yeah.
they're out of Rocky Mount.
Yep.
And I know that they're primarily a greenhouse operation.
Yep.
And they grow tomatoes. And it just made me wonder. I wonder if a crop box type setup would enable that also, to grow tomatoes. And I was thinking actually more of strawberries because that's such a difficult thing to grow. There's lots of diseases and so forth.
For sure. But with bigger plants, you have to have more real estate in the crop box. So we've got it really tight in ours. Like, there's only like a foot between each channel level. And with bigger plants, you've got to have all that room for the lights to grow the plant out a little bit more. So I think they're ideal for microgreens. And that's what they should be designed for. But yeah, I'm biased.
Yeah, no, that's good. I was just curious. I live on a family farm, and it had been traditionally had been both tobacco and cattle ranch over the many years the family has been in it. And I've got some next generation kids that I'm trying to figure out how to, help them or consider ways of doing agriculture. So what you're doing caught my eye, and the proximity to a large population also caught my eye. So I've just been kind of kicking it around a little bit.
Yeah, so I would call Tripp and just talk to him about how many people have been successful all the way through from startup to they have a good market and it's still going strong. And ask him if those I haven't talked to him about tomatoes in a long time. I just remember when the first person did it. And
Yeah.
he just had a million questions. It consumed Trip for about 6 months. And then the strawberry guy, I remember him too. And I also, I was on the farm tour, Carolina Farm Stewardship Farm Tour a couple years ago, and a couple of older farmers came from rural Eastern North Carolina to see it because it appealed to them as a way to segue out. They could grow a little bit of something and not break their back and not sweat like, they could, so that was intriguing. That was interesting.
Yeah. So in my area, I'm sorry, everybody, you have to put up with us for a second here. But what's happening here in my community is there's the whole generation of farmers that are kind of active now, which are generally speaking older than 65, some older than 70.
Yep.
They're just closing down. They have no successor. They don't have anyone in their family wants anything to do with it.
So
and some of them, like my immediate neighbor, he has over 2,000 acres. I mean, it's a big operation. It's been primarily cattle, but he grows a lot of hay, and believe it or not, hay is a moneymaker. So anyway, it's a real issue in a lot of these communities where there's just no successor in sight. And and I'm even reading about Sunburst tomatoes, which I'm familiar with the brand just from the grocery store.
Yeah.
They're retirement age, and I don't know their story. I don't know if they have a next generation or not. But
the average age of a farmer in the United States is exactly my age, 62.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, 62 is young as hell. Let's face it.
For sure.
Well, hey, okay. Hi, everybody. Kai and Sana, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. So today we're going to look some more at this how to do live streaming, and we have kind of a neat little thing I'm going to show you, and then hopefully we can talk about it a little bit as well. So in the interest of time, let's see if I can share my screen. There we go. So there we go. Okay.
Hello. I'm Mylon. I'm on the customer support team at Streamyard. And today I'll be talking with Chris and Jim, and as Presley mentioned, on how to use Streamyard as a live selling tool. Now, first, I'm going to introduce Chris and Jim. So with a 25-year plus history in the music industry with Sony, driven and passionate entrepreneur Chris Stone founded the podcast and live streaming consultancy Cast Ahead after the success of his own co-hosted podcast changed his life. He's produced videos for keynote speakers like Victor Antonio and Sam Silverstein, remote produced virtual live conferences for corporations, and consulted, developed, and produced hundreds of podcast episodes. He also co-hosts a regular Amazon live show, Dealcasters Live, with Jim Fuse of Fusion Marketing. Now, Jim Fuse is a president of Fusion Marketing and does marketing the Marine Corps way. Jim is a retired Marine lieutenant colonel turned digital marketing consultant, speaker, live streamer, podcaster, remote live stream, and virtual event producer with over 30 years of business and social media experience. So he fuses Marine Corps leadership with next level digital marketing. And his 20 plus year of highly successful leadership experience as a Marine Corps officer lets him bring that to bear in the ever-changing world of marketing and technology. So Jim and Chris collaborate as remote live producers, and they've led, assisted, coordinated production teams with clients such as IBM, Streamyard, United Nations Global Compact, MIT, Toastmasters International, GlaxoSmithKline, Jamaican Chamber of Commerce, and USA Biz Party, which has included speakers such as Gary Vaynerchuk, Seth Godin, Darren LaCroix, and many, many more. So how did you two find StreamYard?
Well, first of all, Mylan, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much, StreamYard, for giving us this opportunity. And it's funny because I started live streaming in August of 2018 with my friend Tim Sohn. We started the Tim and Jim show, and we were using another product, which will remain nameless. And I was watching a YouTube with a big StreamYard advocate, Ross Brand, and Eileen Smith, and they started talking about this StreamYard product. So we went and checked it out. We actually did a show where we it's like, hey, what do you all think of this? And we fell in love with it. That was February of 2019 and haven't looked back. And so when I met Chris and I knew he was doing stuff, I said, hey, you got to check this out.
Wow. Well, great to hear. And what brought you to live selling?
Yeah, the interesting part of that is that Jim introduced me to StreamYard, and he watched this video from our friend Ross Brand about how to go live on Amazon, and that was a thing where Jim and I had worked together a number of months, became fast friends, and knew we wanted to do a show on StreamYard and utilizing StreamYard and the tools that they had. We couldn't find a way to do it, something that could complement the business that we do. We're always ending up talking about tech when we're dealing with all these entrepreneurs. And once Jim saw that, he just went through the process, and was approved in a matter of minutes because he has more Twitter followers than Russ Johns, believe it or not, who's in the chat. What's up, Russ? And, he got approved and called me and said, hey, we're Amazon influencers. Let's do our show. And then 2 hours later, after this long call, I cobbled together a logo that we both agreed upon, and Dealcasters Live was born on Amazon.
Awesome. It's great to hear that it happened so fast, it seems like. So why StreamYard instead of other products?
Well, StreamYard didn't pay me to say this, but part of it is the three pillars that StreamYard is founded on: ease of use, stream stability, and professional looking streams. And there's a lot of other great products out there, but one of the biggest things that Chris and I, as not only show, people, but also behind the scenes, I need something I can depend on. The last thing you need is for your tech to go bad when you're in the middle of a show. And that's where StreamYard is rock solid. And, you've heard the list of people we've worked with, and, we've even used Hopin for virtual events. And it's easy, right? I send you a link, you join as a guest. You don't have to do any crazy downloads of your software. And it gives you a lot of flexibility. And as we'll talk about later, we like to break things and play with things. We've come up with other ways to make StreamYard even more powerful for us when we're producing our shows.
Awesome.
Yeah, Mylan, it's really about stability. That's, and I know that's one of the pillars, but, anytime you want to buy something from someone, you first got to trust they know what they're talking about, or you got to trust the product that you're purchasing. And StreamYard is like, every time we use it, it's because we can trust that there's nothing that's going to get broke in the background, and we can focus on what we can control and trust that StreamYard is going to handle whatever platform that we're on and whatever client we're working with.
Great. And what tools did you invest in beyond StreamYard? And that can be in different stages of the live stream.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hardware that we use to get to do this, but I think the first and foremost for us, and being on Amazon and being sort of live sellers, and also we use StreamYard to do the recording function, which we use for product videos, which is another conversation as well. But it's a different situation and it's a different mindset. And for those that are watching this and are interested in getting into selling, or maybe you've dabbled a little bit, maybe not on Amazon and on some of these other platforms, the product is the star. And so, when we go live, the traffic is really driven because our show is showing up on product pages. And so if someone is there and they're looking at a particular thing for their Sony camera, we have to show that product is the start. We can't just sit here and talk about it. We have to show it. We have to talk. We have to actually use it. And so we're set up here with multiple cameras. And Carly, if you could give me a little bit of a solo look here, I can kind of show you, sort of like I've got an overhead cam. So if we need to focus on a particular product like this, I can talk about it. My face is still on the screen. And so one of the things that we invest in is a virtual camera. And in Mac users, so in this case, we have Ecamm as our virtual camera, but we use Streamyard to power our show onto Amazon and create a RTMP destination in Streamyard that Amazon gives us. So it's really about having some functionality like this so I can talk about it if I need to demonstrate it. And Jim stays on the screen with me. I'm on here, my face is on here. I'm talking about the product, I'm demonstrating it. And if I need to talk about something that I don't have and I can't do and I can't show, this is another huge investment. And it's actually on sale right now on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen, but don't go there yet. Is Stream Deck. And if you don't think you're going to need all 32 buttons, you're probably wrong, because this thing is a great lifesaver for you. As you can see, we have our StreamYard button here that we have all our programmed hotkeys. Thank you very much, StreamYard, for launching that new thing, because that is awesome. And you could, as a remote producer, to switch cameras, to go back and forth into different looks and utilize StreamYard in order to do that is key. But if I had a product that would, like my camera that I'm looking into right now, that's something where I would click another look. And now I've got another camera that is behind me. And so now I can talk about this camera and I can point at it, and I could move this around and talk about my overhead setup and talk about the Ulanzi overhead setup and how this is just my phone and how these lights are set up. And you need 3 points of light. If somebody has any questions related to the light setup, I can bring this down here if I want to talk about my mic, which is the Samsung QTU. It's these kinds of things that if someone's going to ask you a question and you're on Amazon, like they're going to ask a question, and if you don't answer that question, they're gone. And if you're going to help somebody launch a show, if you're going to help somebody launch a podcast, you're going to want to walk them through and teach them things. And if that could mean also you need to use something like, well, let me not put my arm in front of that. If I want to talk about my Stream Deck and I want to circle it on the screen, I've got an iPad over here with a green screen overlay in which I can type whatever I want to type. Or not type, draw whatever I want to draw on the particular screen. It's all about pattern interrupts. And these things that we invest in are not expensive. This is a $60 webcam on a $11 boom arm. This is a $60 mic. The most expensive thing you see in front of me is the camera. It's my main camera, but it's that's an investment that I needed to make. None of these things are super expensive, but they're critical to live stream selling. It's what Jim and I nerd out on for hours to try to understand and to teach people how to do. And with what StreamYard allows us to do is to do this effectively, easily, and to get people moving in the right direction, because there's nothing worse than people getting stuck with tech. And our number one thing is don't fear the gear. And if that helps anybody and they have any questions about any of this stuff, we'd love to answer any and all of those things in the chat. But I could talk about this for hours, Mylan. We want to hear the buttery smooth sounds of Jim Fuse's voice here when we can.
Well, it was really great to hear that, and thank you for actually showing us the specifics behind the scenes. So it sounds like you're taking the time to learn new tools that will take your stream to the next level. And those were mostly during the stream. Did you all have any pre-show or post-show tools that you all use?
Yeah, we do. With pre-show, we use Canva, we use Easel, and sometimes we'll even use Adobe Spark. It really, in fact, Chris does a lot of that, and he will tell you there's not like one ring to rule them all, right? It's mixing them up that really helps you find that right thing. Chris has created some great overlays that, like you said, creates a pattern interrupt, allows us to have even moving, GIFs overlays where, a lot of people's like, oh, well, it's not in StreamYard. You can make it if you're willing to take the time. And then we'll use Final Cut Pro in post-production to cut up the videos and create, and Chris does a lot of great stuff with intro and outro videos on there as well. Chris, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, one quick thing, Carly, if you could give me full screen, and I'll show you. Jim talked about one of the great functions of StreamYard is you have the ability to add animated GIFs as overlays as well. And so on Amazon, one of the inherent parts of their platform is the fact that everything's muted. And so we're like, well, how do we get people to unmute? You can't tell them to unmute. You have to create something visually with a pattern interrupt. And I'm doing this right now, right? And so that's a pattern interrupt, right? Well, so is this. So we create this, which this basically goes around the play button, and that you can just put right directly into StreamYard. As an overlay, hit the button, and boom, you're off and running. The other thing that we do is we create an overlay. This was built in Canva. I've got my overhead camera on the right. Typically, Jim's here with me. We don't want any inception. He hasn't joined me on my virtual camera, but you can see right over here is the chat on the event right now. Todd Hartley is telling me I'm crushing it. Thank you, Todd. Okay, so when you're live selling, engage and bring them on the platform. And when somebody follows you, when somebody smashes the follows button, you're shouting them out. You can throw a little sound, little animation. You've got it programmed in your Stream Deck. It's about engagement. It's about, at any point in time, pattern interrupts and utilizing graphic programs like Easel. We use just beautiful live stream templates on Easel, as well as Canva, and I cobbled together a lot of different things, to be honest, and obviously love to talk about it. But this is a new thing that we did by pulling in the Amazon chat when we go live, and now we're on the hop-in chat. So everybody chime in right now. Say hi to Mylan. There we go.
Yeah, a lot of collaboration amongst tools, it sounds like. And speaking of collaboration, how do you all diversify your income beyond the actual live session?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things for us is we do repurposing. We take these shows, we cut them up using a tool called Lately, and we drive people back to Amazon. We have an Amazon shop. We record product videos, what they call shoppable videos, that we're able to place on YouTube. We've also created a podcast, and in the show notes, we'll have our products as well. And then the other thing is that what's happened is brands are reaching out to us, and because they're seeing our live streams, they're seeing our videos, they're seeing our social posts. Samson reached out to us through LinkedIn because they saw how much we were promoting the Samson Q2U. And so that has been one of the things where brands are saying, hey, will you talk about our product on your show? Will you do videos? And then we, make deals with them. And, we also have worked with Donuts, who does name.com, and we created redirects. We worked with them. We've been working with them for several months. And, and so a lot of it is the repurposing. A lot of it is reaching out. We've done, actually, it's funny. It's probably been more inbound than us going outbound when it comes to that. And, Chris can talk a little bit more about what we do post-event as well to diversify that.
Yeah, one of the wonderful things about StreamYard is that when we're done, like with this broadcast, whoever's in control of this particular StreamYard account can go and download the full HD video, but also the individual audio tracks. And for somebody like myself, who is an audio editor on podcasts as well as a video editor, and not having separate audio tracks can be a nightmare. Somebody coughs while Jim's talking. Oh my God, the buttery smooth sound of Jim Fuse's voice just got ruined, right? But having those individual tracks is huge. But yeah, as soon as we're done, it's game on, because we can take that that video and we pull it down, and I pull it into Dealcaster's World Headquarters Final Cut Pro editing suite, which is basically a laptop, and chop it up. And if we talk about a particular product for 3 minutes and focused on a product, we take that and we parse that up. I put a cover on it and we upload it into Amazon. It becomes a product video on that particular page. So, it's kind of 2 birds with 1 stone, and, kind of knocking that out. But then we take that stuff and we do like we interview people a lot. And we want to keep it somewhat product focused, but at the same time, we got a lot of great interview content that can be great audio podcasts. And that's what we are able to do, is just, take that audio, individual tracks, rip it into it, repurpose that, but take that video. We use lately AI, which is a fantastic program that uses artificial intelligence on your video to create a ton of different social posts for you to choose from when you upload your content to it. And then just schedule it out, making sure that we have the right links in there, because Jim touched on it. For us, you can't, Jim always says, when you look at a link, you lose me at the slash. So as a part of your brand and as a part of our brand, we felt it was important for us to have a Dealcasters.live. And that took someone directly to the spot on Amazon, because Amazon Live is still somewhat of a new thing and people are still sort of discovering it. What? Amazon Live? And then when you tell them to go, it's like, yeah, go to my show at, Amazon./ blah, blah, blah. Like no one's doing that. Right. So we went and bought Dealcasters.live, and we redirect people to our shows, and we can use subdomains. So Mylan, if we had you on the show, we could redirect your show, which is on Amazon, and call it Mylan.dealcasters.live. So if we're in Clubhouse, we're talking on Twitter Spaces, or we're shooting out a link, you see the link, and it's a trustworthy link. It's not Bitly, it's not Rebrandly, it's not something whatever. You know what you're getting when you click on it, and it's absolutely part of our brand.
Wow. You're definitely gonna have to talk about that a little later whenever we get into the panel. But let's jump into some questions from our audience now. So the first question I think we're gonna go with is from Doug. And Chris, can you talk a little bit about your background and lighting setup?
Yes, Doug Lehman, in layman's terms. We appreciate the question. Doug is a fantastic live streamer as well, and a big Streamyard user. So that's awesome. Yeah, my lighting setup, Doug. It's almost like we're on Amazon right now, right? These are key lights, and a lot of people will buy these key lights. This light right here is a thin light. You can see I'm going to move it, and it's going to change the lighting on my face, right? So this is my 3rd point of light. I bring that down, and you can adjust that to that, because a lot of times your lights that you have behind you could color your face differently, especially if you're a Caucasian person like myself. It's really susceptible to multiple lights that you want to turn on. You want it to look cool behind you, and all of a sudden you look like a carrot on the screen, right? So you want a light above you that you can kind of wash out any of those funky colors that come in when you're changing your lights back here. And these are key lights. You can see right up over here. These key lights are important to make sure that you're being flanked by these on either side. This is going to pull out your shadows. These are Viltrox lights that I bought. They're sort of like, a lot of people buy these Elgato key lights. Those are great, but they're also pretty expensive. And so I took a shot on these. I didn't want something that clamped to my desk. I wanted to be able to move it far away. So they're on stands. And I don't have a carousel below me, Doug, so I can't really sell you any of these right now. But if you go to dealcasters.shop, there's a video in there, and then we'll get your affiliate link there. So there you go.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We're running a little short on time, so we're going to save the other questions for the panel. But be sure to learn more from Chris and Jim at dealcasters.university. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you all shortly, actually. Thanks.
Okay. Sorry, we'll just say a little bit of this one here.
The audience did too.
Me
So
too.
for anyone listening, please go to Sin's website. You can learn more about her and all of the content that she creates, www.sinsmith.guru. And thank you again, Sin. I'm
Thank
so
you.
thankful to have had you here today.
I'm thankful for being here.
Awesome. So next up, we have a session on the power of community with Katie and Vicky. Now, unfortunately, the two of them are not able to join us live today, but we have utilized a StreamYard feature to play their session pre-recorded. So enjoy, and on to the next. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next segment of the summit today. So our segment right now is called The Power of Community. And I am joined by two very special guests, Katie and Vicky. Katie and Vicky met at eBay Open 2017, where Katie received the eBay Shine Award and Vicky was making her presence known as a leader in the community with her signature pink hair. Soon after, they launched their YouTube channel, where they weekly teach other sellers how to grow and succeed in their businesses. Vicky's been selling on eBay for over 20 years, specializing in vintage clothing and hard goods, whereas Katie has been selling for over 15 years, full-time as of 2016, her current focus being men's vintage streetwear. Combined, Vicky and Katie grossed over $300,000 in 2020 across 7 different platforms. So let's welcome Vicky and Katie to the stream. Hello, hello. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. Hello.
Hi, Kelsey. Thanks for inviting us.
I'm super excited about this session because what you two do is very unique. Now, I know there's live stream selling is pretty widespread and it's a growing industry, but specifically the both of you, I'm really excited to talk about your niche today and sort of your approach to live stream selling. So let's just start off with why did you two start live streaming in the first place?
Well, we use our YouTube channel to teach other sellers in the community. We're very community oriented. We each have our own separate businesses. We are a couple, but we have our separate businesses. But we have nonprofit backgrounds. So we're really passionate about giving back in some way. Mm-hmm. And so we actually use live streaming as a way to connect with the community. And to be honest, because we're so focused and busy with our own businesses, doing pre-recorded, videos is just too time consuming. And so we found that live streaming is the best way to do it because it helps us to stay connected, but do it in a time that works for us.
Yeah, editing videos is very time consuming, right? And we call ourselves the lazy YouTubers. We want to not deal with the editing aspect because it's a time suck. But more importantly, we do it because we like to connect in person with our audience as much as possible virtually. And live streaming allows us to do that. We have, the live chat and the live streaming allows us to connect with people in a job, in a position that is very isolating. Right. Selling online and working for yourself, you can spend an awful lot of time home alone. You can go days without seeing the outside world or talking to other human beings. Yeah. And there are a lot of people that sell online for a variety of reasons because they may or may not be able to function in a 9-to-5 job because of health reasons, right, or childcare or elder care, psychological or physical reasons, whatever. So they may even be more isolated. So this helps to break the isolation, not just for us, but also for a lot of other people and helps us build community through getting rid of the isolation part.
Yeah. Totally. It's an instant interaction and feedback and being able to have actual conversations with people.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is what a power intro right there. So I'm wondering, how did the two of you find out about StreamYard? Like, what was your journey into bringing your live streams on StreamYard?
Well, I guess it was like a couple of years ago when everybody was using, was it Google Hangouts? Or a lot of people are using Google Hangouts in order to do live streaming on YouTube. And so I know for us, you know, I think they had said it was going away, like, I don't know, probably like a year before it actually happened. And I wanted to keep using the same platform I'd been using because I was comfortable with it. I'm the tech person of this team.
Yeah, it's not me. It's not me.
So like, I think I waited till like the very last, like, I don't know, a couple of days before it was going to be gone forever. And I kind of frantically was looking everywhere to figure out what kind of program I could use in order to do the live streaming. And it just turned out that StreamYard was the most accessible and intuitive. And so it just made the most sense. And to be honest, just about everyone else that we know that's kind of in the same sort of niche and doing these kind of live streaming stuff on YouTube, a lot of them use StreamYard. And so it really does seem like it's kind of at the top of the game.
Yeah, it's the most user friendly.
Yes, totally. I was just going to say a lot of our like OG StreamYard users, like people who have been with us since close to the beginning, many of them came from Google Hangouts. And it was sort of a similar, I've heard this story where they're like, we liked Google Hangouts, but like we were forced to find something else and we sort of fell into StreamYard.
Well, and it's so much better. It's like
it's so better.
All of the different little things that are just built in that are automated. It makes it look so professional, but it's super easy to use. So it's pretty cool.
Being able to highlight people's comments and questions and change your backgrounds and brands and insert your own personality into the live stream is something you couldn't do with Google Hangouts. As easy as it was to use, this is a much better platform.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. And I agree as well. So, okay, you use StreamYard as your live stream tool. Do you use any tools beyond StreamYard or in conjunction with StreamYard for your live streams, and why or why not?
I mean, I would say, you know, like Vicky said, we're like the lazy YouTubers. So as little as possible that we can do beforehand to make it happen, the better. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff like I'll do some like graphic design and stuff like that for overlays very rarely, but for the most part, it's all kind of built into the program and it's not really that necessary. We don't really feel like we need a lot of like a super high production value, lots of images and things. It's really about, I guess, the relationships that we're building with the people that we're interacting with. And so I personally don't feel like it's necessary, but you know, it's kind of a feel that.
Yeah, I mean, other than obviously using live, StreamYard in conjunction with YouTube, that's pretty much it for us. I mean, we don't feel the need to add any superfluous stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's the cool thing about StreamYard. And I honestly very much understand where you're coming from with that. Like, you're just like, yeah, I use StreamYard and that's all I need. I'm very much the same way. Like when I found StreamYard, now obviously I work for StreamYard, but I was so excited by how easy it was and how, even though it's such a simple product, right? Like ease of use is one of our pillars. It also covers so many bases that you don't always need other tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your channel is really unique. And this session is all about the power of community, and your channel is really focused on connecting with your audience and growing your audience, connecting with fellow live sellers and resellers. How did you come up with that idea for your channel, and why do you think that angle is important?
Like I was saying earlier, we both have nonprofit backgrounds and we are very passionate about giving back to the world, I guess, in general. And so, but also when I came into doing this work, it was kind of accidentally. It's like, I really love it and I'm passionate about it, but to be honest, like I'm just basically doing retail, right? I have a lot of fun doing it, but it's like, I need something more that fulfills me. And I think we're both on the same page around that. And so for us, it's like, we're not really looking to do YouTube to make a bunch of money because we have jobs.
Right.
So it's more important that we're actually helping other people.
Right. We're not using YouTube as a revenue building stream ourselves. While that's a perfectly relevant line of work, and there's a lot of work involved in it, and there are a lot of resellers that do it and do it very well. We have what we call the baby audience, with 10 to 12,000 people. That's not that big in the world of resellers or YouTubers. But for us, our audience is very dedicated, and they count on us. They count on us to have our live shows at a specific time every week. When we don't have a show, they miss us. When we say that, okay, we're on vacation this week, we're really not going to do a live show, they're like, oh, What am I going to do with my Sunday afternoon now?
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that they count on us for like appointment time, live TV.
Yeah.
And it's fun. We have a lot of fun building the audience, but we also really like to help people. And you know, while our platform may be small, like I said, it's a loyal audience, and we have the ability to help people elevate their businesses without charging money for it. We don't charge money for what we teach. We freely give our knowledge and information to help others, because we feel that elevating and teaching other resellers how to be better sellers elevates the platform for everyone, whether you're a buyer or another seller. So we try very hard to make it worthwhile for other people.
Well, and the reality is, you know, we don't look at each other as competition, even though we're all kind of competitors. Technically, it's like we look at each other as coworkers. And so we do really firmly believe that the better everyone else is, the better we are. And, you know, with that said, you know, Vicky said that we don't use YouTube as a revenue stream, but the reality is it kind of happens naturally anyway, because we're building these relationships, and we're building on it. We had just had an event a little over a month ago, an in-person event here in Vegas. And we did charge for that because we had to obviously cover the costs and stuff like that. And we did make a little bit of money off of it, and which is fair for the time that we put into it. And we do see that that's going to be building in the future, year over year. But that started on a foundation of us building relationships over the last handful of years. So even though we didn't launch into it thinking about, oh, how much money are we going to be able to make, we can build it into a business that's going to bring in revenue for us.
Right.
And that's so amazing to hear. I think that loyalty piece really says it all. The way that you're focused on, first and foremost, connecting with your audience, and not even necessarily building the biggest audience possible, right? Like, I think that's a trap that a lot of content creators can fall into, where it's just like, oh, I have to get the most amount of followers possible, otherwise I'm not relevant, or I'm, you know, my content isn't good enough, or I won't make enough money, etc. But I love the approach that you two have, which is more, how can we create quality relationships and sustained viewership, right? So it's not about necessarily building the numbers to the highest point, but it's more like, for the people who are drawn to what we do and do want to join our community, how do we make them feel valued and seen and loved, you know, in that way? And then hearing about your in-person event, like, that is so awesome as well. I don't think a lot of, you know, virtual businesses have been able to move things in person yet. So it's so cool that you did that. Can you tell us a little more about what that event entailed, and sort of like how long it was, how many people came? Like, what was that like for you guys?
So sure, we live in Las Vegas, right outside of Las Vegas. So it's a destination for a lot of people anyway. So that does help.
Sure.
We had one of the first reselling, if not the first reselling event in person in the last couple of years, at least. So we had close to 300 people fly in from all over the country, and a couple of people from Canada even. And it was a 3-day teaching event. And we had a facility, a space that we rented, and we had lots of other YouTubers and sellers as well come in and teach about their specific niches. So we had an audience of 250 people. And then we had, vendors come in. We had vendor space set up and sponsors. And we had panelists that did something similar to this, speak in segments and teach for 3 days. And it's basically a conference, a business conference, but for resellers.
Yep. Because there's other conferences, like you said in our intro, that we met at eBay Open, and eBay Open is a reseller event, but it's eBay. So it's very much centered on that platform. And so this was unique in that it was a seller-led event that it didn't really specifically cater to any particular platform. And we kind of covered all kinds of things, from taxes to hiring people to sourcing better, to building a social media presence, because things are definitely moving in the direction of social selling and live selling that we're talking about today.
Right. Wow, that's very, very cool.
We had a lot of people, a lot of interest, and we also added a lot of fun aspects around it. We had a big party with a red carpet the last night, and we had a lot of fun, and people were kind of starved for in-person connections.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been a while since we've been able to do it, and it was very well received.
So looking ahead, to close us out for today, how do you see this community? helping each other in the long run? Like what do you see as the future of your online community?
Well, we're talking about live selling. I think that kind of proves, when you see how the market's moving in that direction, it proves how much people care about connecting with other people.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they just stick to going to static sites and just, you order something, you go check out and you're done.
Right.
People want a different level. They want something different to it. And it has to do with connecting with the people that they're buying from. It has to do with your personality, how they mesh with you, what it is about you that drives them and makes them go, oh, I want to buy from them.
Yeah.
And so,
I want to support this small business. Does this
Yeah.
business or these people, showcase the type of things that I believe in or that I feel is important? And I think that in the world of sustainability and online selling, and especially used items online selling, people want to buy from people. They don't want to buy from these big superstores as much anymore. And they want to try to support the small business owners, whether those are, women-led businesses or businesses owned by people of color or, the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
There are people that specifically will seek out businesses to support within those demographics that matter to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's fabulous. So this went by way too fast, but thank you so much for being.
Okay. A lot of stuff there. I think the basic point is that whether it's this particular program, Streamyard, or the one we looked at before, Switcher Studio, and I'm sure there are others. I just wanted to give you a sense of what's involved in producing your live show, and the lighting, the camera, all that kind of stuff. And we can, spend more time on these specifics, but I did want to expose you to, what are people doing in this space. And so I'll just throw it open to any questions or thoughts, and then I have one other thing I'm going to show you real briefly while we're doing that. Kyle, what do you think?
No, you're good. I appreciate it. Honestly, I love it. I was very reluctant initially with the pop shop, but now we've kind of gotten comfortable with that, and now we're looking at doing the on platform. What I do love is that you control what you're doing and where you're saying and who you're doing it to. Okay, you're not having to go through somebody else. You're actually just you have more control over what you're trying to accomplish. And that's what I like about this avenue. And like you say, there are some things out there, but what I liked about StreamYard is they do have a free option. So that would be a nice way to enter into this and then move on from there. So, but no, I think this is great and helpful. And this is the stepping stone that I was looking for from the pop shop to the next step for me. So thank you very much.
Oh, good. Branson, what do you have to say? You know what the hell you're doing with this stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I liked it because I started out doing blogging with streaming almost 10 years ago, and the concept of product selling wasn't there, but building a fan base was. And a lot of times what I like that they all emphasize that Streamlord gave you a chance to really show your personality, and with you being able to customize it, just like if we all remember MySpace back in the day, it was all about being to display what you are. So being able to get the right graphics and to be able to display it and bring in other people, that's a real good thing, because then you can get product reviews from other customers, because you're going to get return customers.
Yeah, cool. Anyone else want to jump in?
The other thing I like what they said is how they use the live stream to cut out parts to use for their product selling. And that's a lot of things that we don't, because when we're doing it live, we're going to say something spontaneous that if we're trying to write it down, it's not going to come out the same. So that's a great thing too, that I like that they said, cutting out, going back. And I always do that with my podcast. We cut out little, bits and parts to give out to the internet. So that's a great thing to use on your social media.
Yeah, the other thing that I think you all probably caught that that segment we just watched was actually pre-recorded. And see how seamlessly it fit into the format of this particular presentation. So I really like that and the ability to add other content, particularly if you're going live for an hour, which some people feel like that's just hard to come up with stuff for a whole hour. But you might have a story of a certain thing that happened or a certain experience or something you learned. You know, that could be a segment that you could play, and you could continue to accept sales or whatever might come along. So I think that's pretty cool. Anyone else want to jump in? One more thing I'm going to show you. So one of the things that that we hear more and more about, that people are interested in experiences and not just buying a product. So this is just a random thing that literally just came out of nowhere to my consciousness. You all may be very familiar with this, but I happened to go to Ocracoke for a couple days over the weekend. And I was reading one of the brochures and I saw this thing that said, ghost stories on a beach fire, at a beach fire or type of thing. So I looked at it and basically it's a business in Ocracoke where they schedule an evening where they tell ghost stories around kind of a beach fire, and they roast marshmallows and, you know, whatever. And apparently it's quite popular, and there's a price for adults and for children. And basically they're selling an hour, or actually it might be 2 hours, on the beach with a fire at dark, telling ghost stories. So I thought, man, that's kind of cool. You know, I was thinking it like, gosh, if I was a college kid, what a great summer job that would be. So then I just decided to see, is this, you know, that's just kind of cool. I wonder if there's anyone else doing it. And so I'm going to share with you a company I ran across, just to show you real quick. I'm not trying to sell you to go into this business. I just want to point out at how amazing some of this stuff can really be. So here is a company in San Diego. They're called San Diego Beach Fires. There's nothing really about ghost stories, but get outside, make memories. And it's actually aimed at companies and groups to kind of organize a beach fire, if you will, or an event outside. And these folks provide all of the stuff you need to do this, right? Not only the fire, the marshmallows, all that kind of stuff, but they have all these different packages that are available. So they've got, you know, a beach fire for two, friends and family, a party. You know, here you see all the different products that are available: fire starter and Adirondack chairs, lanterns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty cool. And then the thing that really, really amazed me is look at all the locations that they have just in the San Diego area, and they will come to your house if you want. So I just thought that was really, really cool. So it turns out that these guys are booked solid almost every single night in all 14 locations. So I just find that to be incredible and a very creative business that I personally never would have thought of, but I did want to just tell you about it because I just thought it was just so cool. So anyway, if you want to set up a beach fire, the market's wide open in North Carolina. From what I can tell, they haven't really gone this far, but the idea of providing, you know, services for organizations, conventions, companies, all that kind of stuff, I think is a really big business. And so Ruth, what do you think? I can see you.
Yeah. So this goes back to a past life when I used to run corn mazes, and I have friends across the country through an organization I'm part of, and they offered fire pits as part of the maze experience. Those
Cool.
things were booked out every single night. And they made a ton of money with campfires. I mean, it's a pretty cheap thing. And some of them would provide the sticks and the s'mores as part of the fee. Some of them would have a stand and you could buy it separately. So if anybody has land and they want to do a little side thing, campfires, they're good.
Very cool. Yeah. I also ran across a company, I can't remember their name right now. They're out of Philadelphia, and they make what they call a reverse s'more. So it's graham cracker with chocolate over the graham cracker and then covered with marshmallow, and it comes on a stick. So you can stick it in the fire to roast it. And they have sold so many of these that they're basically trying to move to a giant factory because they cannot keep up with the demand. And their number one customer are campgrounds. They sell their product wholesale to campgrounds all across the country, and they literally cannot keep it in stock because so many people. You basically hold it over the fire. It comes with the stick, and when you're done, you throw the stick in the fire. So it's no mess. To me, it's the height of laziness. I mean, come on, how hard is a s'more, right? But whatever. It's just another example of meeting the opportunity. But Ruth, thanks for telling us about that campfire thing. I did not know that either, but it just shows that there's a lot of creativity out there in the world, and so keep your eyes open, everybody. Anything else people want to cover at this point? Enough weird stuff between beach fires and people with purple hair telling you to go live on YouTube. It's one of those days, I guess, folks. So hope everyone enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, take care.